The late 15th century in Italy was a crucible of change. Florence, Venice, and Milan, each a jewel in a fragmented peninsula, were at the epicenter of a cultural rebirth, the Renaissance. This era saw a resurgence of interest in classical learning and arts, transforming these city-states into vibrant centers of innovation and creativity. Politically, the Italian peninsula was a patchwork of independent city-states, republics, and principalities, each vying for power and influence. This fragmented landscape fostered intense rivalries, but also encouraged innovation, as rulers competed to attract the most talented artists, architects, and scholars to their courts. Beneath the veneer of artistic flourishing lay a rigid social hierarchy. Nobility held significant power, followed by wealthy merchants and skilled artisans. At the bottom were laborers and peasants, their lives dictated by the seasons and the whims of their superiors. This social structure, while seemingly fixed, was constantly being challenged and renegotiated, particularly during festivals. The Renaissance spirit permeated every aspect of life. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo pushed the boundaries of human expression, while scholars rediscovered ancient texts, sparking new intellectual debates. This atmosphere of innovation and creativity would profoundly influence the festivals and celebrations of the time. In Florence, life revolved around the Arno River and the bustling Mercato Vecchio. Here, Alessandra Bellini, a merchant's wife, navigated the daily routines of family and commerce. Her life, though comfortable, was interwoven with the social fabric of the city. Alessandra's husband, Marco, dealt in fine textiles and exotic spices, bringing her into contact with merchants from across Italy and beyond. She was an astute businesswoman in her own right, skilled at negotiating prices and managing the household affairs. Her days were filled with the responsibilities of managing a household and raising her 2 children. She oversaw the servants, ensured the smooth running of the household, and dedicated herself to the education of her children. Evenings were often spent with Marco, discussing the day's events and planning for the future. Their home, a modest palazzo near the Ponte Vecchio, was a hub of activity and a refuge from the bustling city. Family meals were a cherished ritual, a time to connect and share stories. It was during these moments that Alessandra truly felt grounded, a sense of belonging that extended beyond the walls of her home to the wider community of Florence. The rhythms of Florentine life were punctuated by festivals and celebrations. The Calcio Storico, a brutal and chaotic sport, was a spectacle that brought together all strata of society, a raw display of strength and civic pride. Preparations for these events were elaborate, involving entire neighborhoods and guilds. Artisans dedicated months to crafting costumes, building floats, and organizing the various processions and performances. For Alessandra, these festivals were more than just entertainment. They were a vital part of the social fabric, a time for community building and the reaffirmation of shared values. As the city prepared for its next celebration, Alessandra knew that she would be right there, in the heart of the revelry, connected to the pulse of Florence. The Florentine Calcio Storico, a brutal ancestor of modern football, was more than just a game. It was a ritual, a display of civic pride, and a test of strength. Alessandra, like many Florentines, both feared and revered it. It was a visceral connection to the city's past. Each of the 4 neighborhoods of Florence fielded a team. The reds of Santa Maria Novella, the greens of San Giovanni, the blues of Santa Croce, and the whites of Santo Spirito. The rivalry was fierce, the stakes were high, and victory brought immense bragging rights. The rules were simple: get the ball to the opposite end of the field. But the methods were anything but. Kicking, punching, wrestling, anything went. Alessandra often had to look away, but was equally drawn to witness the event. More than just a game, it was a controlled form of warfare, a way for young men to prove their mettle and earn the respect of their community. Success in calcio storico often translated to advancement in other spheres of Florentine life. For the women of Florence, calcio storico was a chance to assess the strength and character of the men in their lives, husbands, sons, and potential suitors. A man's performance on the field spoke volumes about his courage and loyalty. The winning team was paraded through the city streets, celebrated as heroes. The victory was not just theirs, but belonged to their entire neighborhood, fostering a strong sense of community and belonging. Alessandra understood the deeper meaning of calcio storico. It was a release valve, a way to channel aggression and competition in a controlled environment. It also reinforced the bonds that held Florence together, a reminder of their shared identity and history. The taverns buzzed with post-game analysis. Every play was dissected, every player scrutinized. Calcio storico provided endless fodder for conversation and debate, uniting Florentines in their shared passion for the game. The effects of calcio storico rippled through Florentine society long after the final whistle. The game dominated conversations, influenced business dealings, and even shaped political alliances. For the younger generation, calcio storico was a symbol of Florentine identity, a tradition to be upheld and passed on. They dreamed of one day playing on the hallowed grounds of Piazza Santa Croce. As Alessandra tended to her garden, she pondered the strange duality of calcio storico. It was brutal, violent, and often chaotic. Yet it was also a unifying force, a celebration of Florentine spirit and resilience. The empty piazza was a silent testament to the power of calcio storico, a reminder of the passion, pride, and community that defined Florentine society. The city waited for next year's trial of strength. Venice, a city of canals and commerce, held within its watchery embrace a tradition unlike any other, Carnival. For weeks, the city transformed into a stage where identities blurred and social hierarchies were playfully mocked. The origins of Carnival were ancient, a pagan echo woven into the fabric of Christian observance, a final indulgence before the austerity of Lent. It was a time when the Doge might walk alongside a gondolier, each hidden behind a mask of equal anonymity. Giovanni Medici, a seasoned artisan and leader of his guild, understood the beating heart of Carnival. His guild, like many others, played a crucial role in bringing the spectacle to life. They were the architects of illusion, crafting the elaborate masks, the fantastical costumes, and the awe-inspiring floats that would parade through the Piazza San Marco. Even in Florence, the allure of Venetian Carnival was felt. Alessandra, a merchant's wife, examined a box of masks her husband had brought back from a recent trading trip. The intricate designs, the vibrant colors, hinted at the revelry unfolding northwards, a world away from Florentine decorum. Within Giovanni's workshop, apprentices diligently applied layer upon layer of gesso, smoothing imperfections, preparing the canvas for the explosion of color that would follow. Each mask was a miniature masterpiece, a testament to the artisan's skill and the guild's collective pride. As Carnival drew closer, the canals of Venice teemed with activity. Gondolas, draped in vibrant fabrics, ferried masked revelers from palace to palazzo, their laughter echoing through the narrow waterways. Giovanni and his guild were not just mask makers. They were also responsible for the elaborate floats that were the centerpiece of the Carnival procession. This year, they were constructing a gargantuan depiction of Neptune rising from the sea, his trident gleaming in the sunlight. The float was a symbol of Venice's maritime power and its dominion over the Adriatic. News of the Venetian Carnival reached even the court of Milan. Beatrice Sforza, a noblewoman known for her keen intellect and refined tastes, was fascinated by the descriptions of masked balls and satirical plays. While Milanese celebrations were more controlled, Beatrice understood the power of spectacle to both entertain and pacify the populace. In Venice, the Piazza San Marco became the epicenter of the festivities. Masked figures, their identities concealed, mingled freely, regardless of their social standing. A nobleman might share a glass of wine with a baker. A courtesan might dance with a merchant, boundaries blurred, rules relaxed. Giovanni, watching his guild's float make its way through the Piazza San Marco, felt a surge of pride. His artistry, his skill, had contributed to this moment of collective joy, a shared experience that transcended social divisions. He understood that Carnival was more than just a party. It was a vital expression of Venetian identity. Back in Florence, Alessandra donned a simple Colombina mask, a small piece of Venice in her own city. Though the Florentine celebrations were different, she understood the underlying need for release, for connection, for a temporary escape from the constraints of everyday life. Carnival, in its myriad forms, offered that escape. As the final days of Carnival approached, the revelry reached a fever pitch. Fireworks lit up the Venetian sky, their dazzling displays reflecting in the dark waters of the Grand Canal. The masks continued to conceal, to liberate, to allow for a brief glimpse into a world turned upside down. As the bells tolled, signaling the end of Carnival and the beginning of Lent, Giovanni surveyed his workshop, littered with the remnants of his craft. He knew that the masks would be packed away, the costumes folded, but the spirit of Carnival, the memory of shared joy and temporary freedom, would linger in the hearts of Venetians, a reminder of the power of revelry to bind a community together, until the next year's celebration began again. Milan, a city of strategic importance and opulent display, saw its rulers utilize festivals not merely for entertainment, but as powerful tools of political theater. The Sforza dukes understood the value of a well-staged spectacle in projecting their authority and solidifying their dynasty's claim to power. Every detail, from the fabrics chosen for costumes to the allegorical themes of the parades, was meticulously planned to convey messages of strength, wisdom, and divine favor. The Sforza court understood that perception was paramount, and festivals offered the perfect stage to craft a desired image. The arrival of foreign dignitaries was often timed to coincide with major festivals. These events served as a demonstration of Milan's wealth, power, and cultural sophistication, meant to impress potential allies and intimidate rivals. The sheer scale of the spectacles was designed to overwhelm the senses and leave a lasting impression. The jousting tournaments, a staple of courtly entertainment, were more than just sporting events. They were carefully choreographed displays of martial prowess, intended to showcase the strength and chivalry of the Milanese nobility. Victory in the arena translated to prestige and influence at court. The rules of engagement, the choice of weapons, and even the colors worn by the knights were all imbued with symbolic meaning. These tournaments served as a microcosm of the political landscape, reflecting alliances, rivalries, and power struggles within the Milanese court. Lavish banquets and balls were another key component of Milanese ducal celebrations. These events provided opportunities for networking, diplomacy, and the cementing of alliances. The extravagance of the food, music, and decorations was meant to demonstrate the wealth and sophistication of the Sforza court. The seating arrangements at these banquets were carefully planned to reflect the social hierarchy. The Duke and his closest advisors occupied the places of honor, while those of lower status were seated further away. Even the food served reflected social standing, with the rarest and most expensive delicacies reserved for the elite. While ducal celebrations were primarily aimed at projecting power and impressing the elite, they also served to entertain the populace. Public festivities, such as street parades, theatrical performances, and games, were organized to provide a sense of shared identity and loyalty to the ruling family. However, these displays of public generosity were carefully controlled. The ruling class understood that allowing too much freedom could lead to social unrest. Soldiers were always present to maintain order and prevent any disruptions to the carefully orchestrated spectacle. For Beatrice and others in the court, these festivals were not merely frivolous affairs, but crucial events with profound political implications. Alliances were forged, messages were sent, and power dynamics were subtly reinforced through the language of spectacle. As the fireworks lit up the Milanese sky, they were not just a beautiful sight, but a powerful statement. They were a symbol of the Sforza's power, their wealth, and their determination to maintain their grip on power through any means necessary. The Milanese ducal celebrations, with their intricate choreography and lavish displays, served as a potent reminder that in Renaissance Italy, power was not only wielded through armies and treaties, but also through the artful manipulation of perception and the spectacle of grand festivals. The Venetian guilds held immense power, their influence woven into the very fabric of the city's economy and social life. Giovanni, a leader within the Carpenters' Guild, felt the weight of this responsibility keenly, especially as Carnival approached. Each year, the guilds vied to create the most spectacular processional floats for Carnival. Giovanni presented his design, a massive, allegorical representation of Venice rising from the sea, to his guild members. Excitement and apprehension filled the room. The construction began in earnest. Skilled carpenters, sculptors, and painters poured their heart and soul into the project. Giovanni ensured that every detail, from the intricate carvings to the vibrant colors, reflected the guild's commitment to excellence. While Venice prepared for Carnival, Florence geared up for the feast of San Giovanni, the city's patron saint. Alessandra, ever involved in community affairs, assisted in procuring fine textiles for the festival banners and costumes. The collaborative nature of the project wasn't without its challenges. Disagreements arose, and creative differences threatened to derail progress. Giovanni, with his years of experience, deftly navigated these tensions, reminding everyone of their shared goal. In Milan, Beatrice oversaw the preparations for the ducal procession, ensuring that the costumes and decorations reflected the power and prestige of the Sforza family. She understood the political importance of these displays. As the deadline approached, Giovanni organized a communal meal for the guild members. Sharing food and drink, they celebrated their collective effort and reaffirmed their bonds of brotherhood. Alessandra joined other women in her neighborhood to create the vibrant banners that would adorn the streets during the feast of San Giovanni. The shared activity fostered a sense of belonging and civic pride. Finally, the float was complete. A magnificent spectacle of artistry and engineering, it stood as a testament to the guild's skill and dedication. Giovanni felt a surge of pride as he gazed upon their creation. Back in Milan, Beatrice meticulously oversaw the final touches on the decorations for the ducal procession, ensuring that every detail reflected the family's grandeur and power. As the carnival began, the guild's float made its grand debut. Crowds lined the canals, cheering and applauding as it passed. Giovanni felt a profound sense of connection to his city and his fellow Venetians. After Carnival ended, Giovanni gathered his guild members at a local tavern. They raised their glasses, celebrating their success and the enduring bonds forged through their shared endeavor. The festivities reinforced their sense of community and purpose. The air crackled with anticipation. Florence was awash in pre-Lenten festivities, and Alessandra felt a thrill course through her as she prepared for the masked ball. Tonight, the rigid social structures blurred, and a merchant's wife could, for a few precious hours, become a lady of the court. Giovanni, amidst the controlled chaos of his workshop, knew that Carnival was more than mere frivolity. It was a carefully orchestrated period of release, a temporary valve that allowed the pent-up frustrations of the common people to escape without boiling over into outright rebellion. The guilds played their part in ensuring it remained within acceptable boundaries. Beatrice understood the power of distraction. The Sforza court meticulously planned every festival, every feast, every tournament to keep the populace entertained and, more importantly, compliant. The temporary chaos of the celebrations masked the ever-present grip of ducal authority. At the ball, Alessandra found herself swept up in a waltz with a masked gentleman. His identity was a mystery, his words witty and charming. For a fleeting moment, she was not just a merchant's wife, but a woman desired for her own sake. From his vantage point, Giovanni watched the Carnival parade unfold. The masks and costumes offered anonymity, allowing people to express themselves freely, to mock authority, and to challenge social norms, all within the safe confines of the festival. Beatrice participated in the staged hunt, a carefully choreographed spectacle designed to showcase the Sforza family's power and generosity. Even in this apparent display of leisure, every action, every gesture was meticulously planned to reinforce the ducal image. As the ball ended and Alessandra removed her mask, the brief taste of social mobility faded. She was once again just Alessandra Bellini, a merchant's wife. But the memory of the evening, the feeling of being seen as an individual, lingered. For Giovanni, the true reward of Carnival was not the inversion of social order, but the solidarity it fostered amongst the artisans. The shared effort, the collaborative creation of the spectacle, strengthened the bonds within the guilds. Beatrice, far from experiencing any sense of release, saw the festivals as a tool to be wielded. She discussed with her advisors how the recent celebrations had reinforced the Sforza family's image and planned future events to further solidify their control. Despite the return to her ordinary life, Alessandra carried a spark within her. The masked ball had offered a glimpse of a different reality, a reminder that even within the rigid confines of Renaissance society, there was room for individual expression and connection. Giovanni understood the complex duality of Carnival, a period of liberation and inversion, yet ultimately sanctioned and controlled. He wondered about the true extent of its impact, whether it truly challenged the status quo or merely reinforced it through temporary release. For Beatrice, the festivals were simply another tool in the arsenal of power. They were opportunities to manipulate public perception, to consolidate authority, and to ensure the continuation of the Sforza dynasty. The temporary freedoms offered during the celebrations were, in her eyes, a small price to pay for maintaining social order. Beneath the vibrant tapestry of Renaissance festivals lay threads of darkness. The revelry, intended to unite, could also expose and exacerbate existing social tensions. The guilds, while fostering community, were not immune to internal strife. Disagreements, fueled by ambition and pride, often simmered beneath the surface, occasionally erupting during festival preparations. For the nobility, the line between display of power and provocation was thin. Extravagant celebrations, intended to impress, could easily incite resentment amongst the less fortunate. The heady atmosphere of Carnival, fueled by wine and anonymity, sometimes devolved into violence. Long-standing grudges, masked by revelry, found an outlet in the chaos of the streets. Even Calcio Storico, a symbol of Florentine pride, carried a dark undercurrent. The brutal competition often resulted in serious injuries, a stark reminder of the city's violent past. Giovanni understood the importance of maintaining order within his guild. He knew that unchecked rivalries could undermine the entire community, especially during the critical period of festival preparations. Beatrice recognized the strategic value of festivals in managing public opinion. A well-orchestrated spectacle could distract from deeper social problems, at least temporarily. The masks of Carnival offered a shield for dissent. Dissidents seized the opportunity to express their grievances, hoping to spark a wider rebellion. Alessandra witnessed the human cost of the revelry. The festive spirit often masked the suffering of those caught in the crossfire of violence and social unrest. Giovanni, as a respected leader, attempted to restore order and calm the anxieties of the people, reminding them of the importance of unity and civic responsibility. Beatrice understood that suppressing dissent was not enough. True stability required addressing the grievances that fueled the unrest in the first place. The festivals, despite their darker aspects, remained a vital part of Renaissance life. They were a crucible where social tensions were both exposed and sometimes temporarily resolved, leaving behind a complex legacy woven into the fabric of Italian society. Beatrice understood the subtle language of power. Festivals were not merely celebrations. They were carefully orchestrated performances where every detail, from the fabrics worn to the art displayed, conveyed a message. Giovanni, though distant from Beatrice's world of courtly intrigue, recognized the same principle at play. His guild's contributions to Carnival were not just craft. They were offerings to the city's identity, shaping its image for Venetians and visitors alike. The triumphal arch was Beatrice's family's statement in stone and plaster, a monument to their lineage. Every statue, every inscription, was carefully chosen to amplify their glory. Even in Florence, where Republican ideals were cherished, art served as a form of social commentary. Alessandra understood the subtle barbs aimed at those in power, woven into the fabric of street performances and public displays. The sculptor labored under intense pressure. The likeness had to be perfect, not just in appearance, but in conveying the Duke's strength and wisdom. The arch was not merely a decoration, it was a statement of power. Giovanni ensured that every detail of the float was perfect. The guilds understood that their reputation was tied to the quality of their work. A stunning display meant prestige and more commissions. The construction was behind schedule. Beatrice felt the pressure mounting. The arch had to be ready for the upcoming festival, a testament to the Sforza's unwavering control. Alessandra knew that art could shape opinions and influence perceptions. She supported artists who dared to challenge the status quo, subtly questioning the Medici's power. The float was a masterpiece, a testament to the skill and dedication of Giovanni's guild. It was more than just a spectacle. It was a symbol of Venetian ingenuity and artistry. The festival had begun. The triumphal arch stood as a towering symbol of Sforza power, a spectacle designed to inspire awe and obedience. But Beatrice couldn't shake the feeling that art, like power, was a precarious thing. Even amidst the revelry, Alessandra noted the subtle signs of dissent. The masks allowed for a freedom of expression, a veiled critique of the ruling elite, a testament to the enduring power of art as a form of resistance. As Giovanni watched his creation glide down the Grand Canal, he understood the power of art to unite and inspire. It was a temporary escape, a moment of shared joy, but it was also a reflection of the city's soul. Alessandra reflected on the Calcio Storico. While ostensibly a unifying event, it also served as a stark reminder of Florence's social divisions. The players, often representing different neighborhoods, carried the weight of their community's honor, but Alessandra couldn't ignore the fact that the elite families often used these events to further their own political agendas. Giovanni surveyed the remnants of Carnival. The guilds poured their heart and skill into these creations, bolstering their reputation and providing work for their members. Yet, he wondered, did the common gondolier or fisherman truly benefit from these displays of grandeur, or were they simply spectators in a game orchestrated by the wealthy merchants and nobles? Beatrice watched the dancers twirl. The balls and feasts hosted by the Sforza family were carefully curated events designed to impress and intimidate. Every detail, from the placement of guests to the selection of music, served a purpose: to reinforce the family's power and maintain social order. She understood that even the most frivolous-seeming entertainment was a form of political currency. Alessandra noticed the subtle ways women asserted themselves during festivals. While officially excluded from many events, they found ways to participate, organizing feasts, crafting costumes, and influencing the atmosphere of the celebrations. These acts, though often overlooked, were a testament to their resilience and agency. Giovanni knew that Carnival provided an opportunity for the guilds to negotiate their status within Venetian society. By showcasing their skills and contributing to the city's festive spirit, they could demand better treatment and recognition from the ruling class. However, this negotiation was a delicate dance, requiring careful maneuvering and a willingness to compromise. Beatrice understood that festivals could be used to solidify alliances and project an image of strength. The Sforza family carefully selected guests and orchestrated events to send a message to both their allies and their enemies. A lavish display of wealth could deter potential aggressors, while a well-placed gesture of goodwill could strengthen diplomatic ties. Alessandra recognized the importance of festivals in transmitting cultural values to the younger generation. Through participation in traditional dances and rituals, young Florentines learned about their history, their community, and their place in the world. These celebrations helped to forge a sense of collective identity that transcended social divisions. Giovanni saw Carnival as an opportunity to pass down the skills and traditions of his guild. The creation of masks, costumes, and floats required a mastery of various crafts, from woodworking and painting to tailoring and jewelry making. By training young apprentices, he ensured that these skills would endure for generations to come. Beatrice recognized the subtle power of social gatherings. Even seemingly informal conversations could have significant political consequences. By carefully cultivating relationships and disseminating information, she could influence the opinions of foreign dignitaries and advance the interests of the Sforza family. Alessandra pondered the enduring legacy of these celebrations. They were a reflection of Florentine society, with all its beauty and contradictions. The festivals reinforced social bonds, transmitted cultural values, and provided an outlet for creative expression, but they also served as a reminder of the inequalities and power struggles that shaped Renaissance life. Giovanni believed that Carnival, despite its excesses, offered a glimpse of a more egalitarian society. For a brief period, social hierarchies were blurred, and everyone could participate in the revelry. He hoped that this spirit of unity and shared joy would inspire future generations to build a more just and equitable Venice. Beatrice understood that the power to shape festivals also carried a great responsibility. The Sforza family could use these events to unite the people of Milan, promote cultural exchange, and foster a sense of civic pride. But they also had to be mindful of the potential for unrest and dissent. The key was to strike a balance between maintaining control and allowing for genuine expression. The Renaissance may have faded, but its echoes still resonated through the centuries. Alessandra, in the quiet of her Florentine garden, felt the weight of tradition, the enduring spirit of community forged in the fires of Calcio Storico and the exuberance of pre-Lenten celebrations. These festivals, she realized, were more than just fleeting moments of revelry. They were the threads that bound Florentine society together. In Venice, Giovanni would have observed how the spirit of Carnival lived on, perhaps diminished in scale, but undiminished in its capacity to inspire awe and wonder. The guilds, though transformed, still played a role, their descendants carrying on the tradition of crafting elaborate masks and costumes. He would recognize the same pride in workmanship, the same dedication to creating moments of beauty and illusion that defined the Renaissance. Beatrice, transported to a later age, might have recognized in modern political rallies and public events the same strategic use of spectacle she witnessed in the Milanese court. The desire to project power, to legitimize rule through carefully orchestrated displays, remained a constant, albeit manifested in new forms. The echoes of ducal processions and lavish banquets reverberated in the carefully managed images of contemporary leaders. The study of Renaissance festivals has become a cornerstone of cultural anthropology. Scholars meticulously examine archival records, artwork, and literary accounts to reconstruct the rituals, symbols, and social meanings embedded within these celebrations. They seek to understand how festivals functioned as vehicles for social cohesion, negotiation of power, and expression of identity. In academic settings, Renaissance festivals serve as case studies for exploring complex social dynamics. Students analyze how festivals could simultaneously reinforce existing power structures and provide opportunities for marginalized groups to challenge or subvert those structures, albeit temporarily. The spirit of Renaissance festivals lives on in countless modern-day celebrations across Italy and beyond. From local Saints' Day processions to elaborate historical reenactments, these events continue to foster a sense of community, celebrate local traditions, and provide a platform for artistic expression. For Alessandra, the memory of Florentine festivals would remain a source of comfort and inspiration. The shared meals, the boisterous games, the sense of belonging, these were the experiences that defined her community and shaped her understanding of what it meant to be Florentine. Giovanni would take pride in the knowledge that the skills and traditions of Venetian artisans continued to shape the city's identity. The legacy of Carnival, the dedication to craftsmanship, the spirit of innovation, these were enduring testaments to the power of human creativity and collaboration. Beatrice, with her keen understanding of power dynamics, would recognize that the manipulation of spectacle and the pursuit of legitimacy remained timeless aspects of human society. The lessons learned in the Milanese court, the art of crafting a convincing narrative, would continue to resonate across the centuries. The tapestry of Renaissance festivals, woven with threads of community, identity, and power, continues to captivate and inform us. These celebrations offer a glimpse into a vibrant past, reminding us of the enduring human need for connection, expression, and shared experience. Florence, Venice, and Milan, each a jewel in the crown of the Renaissance, stand as enduring monuments to human ingenuity and cultural flourishing. Their festivals, though rooted in a specific time and place, continue to inspire and inform our understanding of community, identity, and the enduring power of celebration. And so, the stories of Alessandra, Giovanni, and Beatrice, intertwined with the vibrant tapestry of Renaissance festivals, fade into the annals of history. Their experiences, however, continue to illuminate the enduring power of celebration to shape communities, negotiate identities, and reflect the ever-evolving dynamics of human society.